Guys, we did it. We hit 50 subscribers. Just thank you guys. It was because of this video with almost 90 comments. And because your opinion matters on this channel, you know what happens next. It's literally in the title. But first, my big mistake. In the video I said that Unreal takes 5% royalty, but because of a mistake in the source page, there was this tiny little information missing. That it only happens when a game reaches 1 million in sales. So if one game reaches 900k and another one reaches $1,000 in sales, it still doesn't mean that they take 5% of that $1 million. On the other hand, there are people that are saying that Unity Pro is still cheaper than Unreal, but you know, I'll just leave this comment here on the screen. But now, with that on the side, let's talk about things I disagree with. Actually, there's only one, and that is judging Unity because of crappy mobile clickers. Okay, I get it. I absolutely get what you mean, because Unity in its highest peak made game dev much easier. But that led to the point that there was a minority of good games made using Unity, but there also was a majority of bad mobile game releases made in Unity that just was made for money. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the Unity engine is bad, because it's not. The engine is amazing. Just look at the stuff that was made in it. Unfortunately, it built a bad reputation. Okay, now there are also some things that I can't really decide on. For example, someone said that it's easier to set up the scene in Unreal and the inbuilt lighting is much better than Unity's. Or that Unreal's multiplayer is easier to use. What I know is that multiplayer is really hard to do. But anyway, now it's time to talk about the things that I agree with. The first thing is, engine is just a tool. And that is really important to say. As I said before, saying that game is bad because of its engine is stupid. Because it's literally just like saying that Wonder Woman 1984 is bad because of the equipment they were using. It's exactly the same. But what I can agree on is that the two engines are focused on different things. They have different workflow because Unity specifies more on indies and Unreal specifies more on AAA studios. But the important thing is that you can easily make the same thing in both. What I heard of is that Unreal's assets are basically engineering miracles, and that means that the stuff inbuilt in Unreal, if you would try to make it yourself, you would probably never make it so good. But I think there can be assets in Unity of the same quality. But, well, that's another problem, because Unity's store is bigger but there are less free assets. That's another point. You know, it's really hard to say for me because I don't really use Unreal, but from what I've heard from multiple comments, it's like that there is definitely a lot of free assets in Unreal and not so many in Unity. Maybe you could get really good assets in Unity, but what's already inbuilt in Unreal in Unity, you just have to pay for it. And probably the last point I have here is that Unity engine changes a lot, but it has better documentation and C# is easier than C++. But that's probably all the opinions that I could find from those 90 comments. So I hope you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you're wondering what I'm even talking about, you should watch this video.